I was tasked with being the first runner in the men's 4x400 meter relay for the U.S. team, which in itself is just enough. Like, that's a lot of pressure. Going into this race, the U.S. team had never lost this event, period.
Wow.
The only time was when they boycotted the Olympics in 1980 in Moscow. So even then, that's not a loss. That's just we didn't show up. So knowing that going in and knowing the rich, in-depth history that, the team and the guys before me had laid, I had to continue that legacy. So I went into the race, the gun goes off, I'm running as fast as I can, and that's when I know something is not right. My leg is not doing me any service at all. But I knew that I had to continue running. We get to 200 meters, and that's when my fibula bone, at the time I didn't know it was my fibula bone, but that's when my leg just snaps. And I'm like, okay, I have two decisions. I can either just lay it all out right here, just lay down, hope that somebody comes to me real quick because this hurts, or I can just try to get to the finish line as fast as I can. And no matter how fast or slow I get there, I know that those three guys behind me will do their job and we'll be able to win this thing. So I chose the second option, obviously, if you follow history. And it worked out for me. Now, this is a disclaimer. I'm not telling anyone else to go out and do that. But I just know the way that I'm built up and the way that, I'm structured. It's just I have to be a go-getter. I had to be the one that, stayed on the positive side of history. And it worked out for me. And I think that's a testament to, like I said, my upbringing, my coaches who, instilled in me a great quality of just giving your best effort. No matter if you win or lose, as long as you give your best effort, you've done more than enough. So I felt like me laying myself out there for the team was the ultimate sacrifice. It could have ended my career. It actually did end my career for a little bit, but I knew that the end result was those guys getting the opportunity to go back the next day and do what they could to secure a medal for us. So yeah, that's why I chose to do that.
That's awesome. It's so inspiring. And I think having that mindset going into it, some people, when that adrenaline hits, they might just, like you said, fall on the ground and lay there and hope someone's going to come and get them, put them on the stretcher and take them away. Or you resort back to the things that you've been taught in your upbringing and just the person that you are, which is like, no, I'm going to finish. I have this much left. How long was left in the race when that did happen?
200 meters.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's insane. Like, it's not like you broke it with 20 meters left in the 100 meter. It's 200 meters is still a while, like 20 some seconds.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. It's incredible. And what was your physical recovery like and the rest of your Olympic experience after that?
It was rough. So that they wheeled me into so a lot of people don't realize that at the Olympic Games, you got to follow like protocol. This is on TV and all that stuff. So it's not like, oh, that happened, he went straight to the hospital, he had the surgery or got fixed and then boom. No, I sat there, or actually I stood there and waited for those three guys to finish their leg of the race. Then we walked through media and I knew what was going on. We walked through media, which was upstairs in the stadium, then walked back down all that, went through the media tunnel under the stadium. And then that's when the Ken Brahman was and I owe him my life. Ken Brahman was right there. And he was like, Manteo, you don't look too good. I was like, Ken, my leg is broken. It broke at 200 meters. I need medical attention. The adrenaline is wearing off. I feel everything now. Then maybe 30 minutes after me finishing that run is when I got to the infirmary in the Olympic Village and then found out that everything I said was actually true. So yeah, I owe Ken Brahman. If you see this, Ken, I love you, man. I owe him my life because he was the one that, hey, we need him out of here. We need to get him, because no one believed me. I was like, hey, I'm hurt. But at the same time, it was bittersweet because I didn't want to take away from Bryshawn Nellum and Tony McQuay and Josh Mance, the three guys that were after me. I didn't want to take away from their moment because literally we ran the fastest time in Olympic history in the prelim in that race with my broken leg split, which would have been crazy if I would have been on like normal race pace. so just being able to not take away from that moment and to let them breathe in that moment. And I'm sure they were internally mad at me because I ran slow. So I didn't want to take away from that. So I kind of just pinned it on the U.S. team and not just me. And then, we just went and took care of things the way we needed to. But I was out for 17 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was out for 17 weeks. Obviously, I didn't run in the final the next day. They brought in a replacement for me, and then we ended up getting silver, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's still one of the greatest moments I've ever experienced, whether it be in sport or not. Just to be able to be at the Olympic Games is just a dream come true. But to be able to do something inspirational and, that inspires like just generation after generation, and a story that never really gets old, everybody can kind of, acclimate to. And, it's just been a really cool experience off the track as well, being able to travel the world and people know your story and want to talk to you about it and let them know that it inspires them. It's pretty cool to be able to be in that position.
Right. Yeah, that's so cool, because I think people in life, they go through these big moments of adversity, these huge setbacks, and your story, they can resonate with it because it's something that it's the parallels between sport and life are just so close. And sport is obviously this extreme. So it's really easy for us to see those examples and say, wow, he broke his leg, he continued, what's going on in my life that broke and I can continue.
Right. For sure.
So this next question is brought to you by All In's presenting sponsor, Restoic, their mental training app for athletes. And they have a new app that's actually just coming out this month. And so you shared, I've seen you share that this broken leg haunted you mentally after training. You felt like, maybe it could happen again. How did you recover mentally to get over that? Because I think a lot of athletes deal with that, the mental repercussion of injury and worry that it could happen again.
Sport psych. I always tell athletes, and even before this, obviously I got more involved in it after this happened, but you can have all the physical training that you want. And if you're not trained in between here, it does not matter. Your body can be a fine-tuned engine with the right fuel and the right sleep and all of that stuff. That's great. You need that as athletes. I repeat, you need that as athletes. However, if you are not mentally stable and ready here, none of that stuff matters. So I know coming back from it, the training was very, very difficult because I would get to the same spot where I broke my leg in like training and I would literally stop, like just my body would just shut off. Or I would go through reps and I couldn't make it through no matter how slow they were. I just couldn't make it through because internally, mentally, my body was like, this is where you need to stop. This is where you stop before. This is where you're going to stop every time. So I had to talk to a sports psych. I talked 2 times a week for almost 3 months. Yeah. And mental imagery and just overcoming obstacles, adversity, stuff like that. I was able to overcome it. And it took like 2 or 3 years to do that. Wow. There were highs where I was like, okay, I'm good now. And then there'd be, I go and almost PR in a race. And then the next day or 2 days later at practice, same thing again, boom, stop. So it was just like a tug of war, like back and forth, just trying to figure out how can I overcome this? So that's what I started doing. And I still do that to this day. I may not talk to a psych all the time, but I still do the mental imagery and I still meditate and all those different things like visualization, all that stuff that, gives me an advantage over my competition for sure.